So I filmed an intro yesterday, but I didn't have a shirt on for some weird reason, so I'm filming another one. But the goal of this episode is to answer the question, what do I want to do? This is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, and it's episode 99, and I just wanted to try and be more concise about answering the question, what do I want to do? Because I've been a little confused and questioning a few things, so here we go.
Ryan Little.
It's just the absolute worst thing in the whole entire world when you're clipping your nails and you get a little too aggressive and then you have to you've given yourself a hangnail, so you have to readjust the hangnail, so you have to clip even lower. This is not gonna grow in well. So I'm just sitting here eating my food down to basically the last bite. I was scooping it along the edge, trying to get a good spoonful, before I decided I wanted to eject and land in my lap. Why? I want to say it's a day ruiner, but we move. We move. But there's not much more upsetting than one, eating a food that you enjoy and spilling it, but spilling it on the last bite. We move. And right after I did laundry too, now I have to wash these shorts and this shirt. Whatever, dude. Whatever. Okay, so that little food spill may have thrown off my day more than I had planned, actually. It may have actually come more off guard than I had thought, because I just woke up from about an hour and 15-minute nap. It was a good nap, though. Really good nap. But we need to get back on the right train here. Before we can really answer the actual big question of what do I want to do, we have to answer a few questions. Firstly, how did I get to where I am? And where am I? Secondly, what motivates me? What do I want? What are my goals? What am I aiming to get out of my career? What do I want to happen for myself? And thirdly, where do I ultimately want to go? Where do I want to be? Where do I see myself ultimately, that whatever the peak of my career looks like? Also, what do you think about these pants? Pink corduroy, pretty fire, right? With the first question, where am I? How did I get to where I'm at? That's probably the simplest question. I am in this weird post-grad that I've mentioned many times. And I graduated recently from Butler University with a degree in sports media. And why did I get there? Why did I choose that? Because I grew up loving sports. I've always loved sports. I played as many sports as I possibly could. Hell, I'm wearing a soccer jersey right now. I graduated with a sports media degree. I'm currently pursuing a career in sports production, but that's why we're in filming this video, because I don't really know if that's what I want to do. I don't really know if that's where I want to go. I don't know if really that's where I want to take myself. So while it is helpful to know how I got to where I'm at, it doesn't really answer the full question. It kind of just gives us an idea of what's our current starting point, and that is on a liberal arts base, meaning a lot of different things. I know basic data analytics, I know basic web design, I know basic journalism skills, well, maybe more advanced journalism skills. I know how to hold a camera, how to use a camera, I know how to film a broadcast, how to set up and tear down and do a whole process for the sports broadcast. I know how to do a number of things, a lot that are even reaching beyond the typical sports media degree. So that's helpful in making more qualified for other positions, but unfortunately isn't very helpful when it comes to really narrowing down what exactly I want to do, because I can kind of do a lot of things. So we need to answer the question, what motivates me? And this is a question I think I need to break up into 3 parts. We have sports. That's really what's got me to where I am. It's really what is driving my career at the current moment. I know that I love sports. It's like my favorite thing. I've had this idea that if I work in sports, or if I'm close and near and around sports, that it's gonna be hard for me to be upset. So that's number 1. 2 is financial. Your boy just graduated from college, and with college, especially when you go to a college like Butler University, comes debt. So that's something I'm trying to get over quickly and would like to get out of the way as fast as possible. And number 3 is happiness, because you gotta be happy. At the end of the day, you just have to be happy, because if you're not happy doing what you're doing, then what are you doing? So sports. We know I love sports. I've played sports really since essentially the day I was born. My first word was ball. Like, born and bred to be a sports fan, basically. And I've had this idea, if I can get paid handsomely and be near and in around sports, that it's gonna be so hard for me to be upset, because what else would I want to be doing? But also, there's the challenge of being in debt and overcoming that debt. And this is the first time in my life where I've truly been in debt. And I gotta say, I don't enjoy it. I haven't not had to start making payments yet, but it is something that is looming over me, and I know it's ever present and always will be there until I get rid of it. So I have to factor that in, how I would like to ideally get rid of my debt as quickly as possible, i.e. make as much money as possible as quick as possible. You get me? So with that, then comes my happiness. How can I marry the two with sports and financial trouble to ultimately keep my happiness? Because we know sports production will make me happy. We know this. This is something that I am certain about myself. I think I have somewhat of a passion in sports production. But it is possible for me to stay working in and around sports and not be working fully in sports production. I currently do freelance work, so I could have a job being whatever, a bank teller, but I could be doing freelance on the side. So it's a battle, but it's something that I think I can make happen. I can stay in sports, maybe not even sports production, but also overcome my financial restraints that I have at the moment. And there are different ways that I can do this. I've recently started applying to jobs, several in sports production, because that's where I'm aiming to go right now. But also, as I've been looking at jobs, I've seen others that are in the sports area, but not necessarily sports production. Unfortunately, a lot of them are sales jobs, and sales jobs are a little more dicey because you kind of make your own money. You are in charge of your own income in a lot of ways. But there are some that I've seen that have a decent base salary, so I could build off of that and at least have that solid base salary. And I'm confident with who I am, the personality that I have, the ability that I've learned throughout my life to talk to people and engage with people really from any walks of life, that in due time, if I practice and I really try, I can become a good salesman. I'm good at talking to people, engaging with them, getting them to laugh, bringing them over to my side and keeping people calm. So I think that could work out for me. But the question is, will that ultimately make me happy? And I am willing to sacrifice my happiness in the short term to ultimately, if it pays off, in the medium or long term. But I don't want to do it too long, because I'm not trying to struggle through my 20s, bro. 20s are where you're supposed to be living life, balling out, doing whatever you want to do, traveling, just enjoying your youth. So this is the inner debate I've been going through with myself. Do I stick with sports production, the place where I've made the most connections, where I know the most people and I have the most experience? If you look at my resume, it's basically all sports production. Or do I go another path, like sports sales? So that's something that I already have a vested interest in, so it would seem logical that I could work in that field. So I've really weighed the challenges of it. Granted, I still have to get a job at the end of the day. I can't really make this discernible decision until I get a job, but these are things that I'm weighing currently. This is the battle that I've had. I've tried to think about these things. I know these three things motivate me: financial, sports, and happiness. I know I want to accomplish these three things, and I know there's different ways that I can accomplish them, and I can merge them all three and tackle them all together. But it's really finding out, first off, getting a job and finding the best fit for me where I can tackle these three goals, because that's more than three. These three goals, because that's sort of the trifecta to me. If I am in and around sports, I'm financially sound, and I'm happy, what more could I ask for? What more could I ask for? Now to answer the third question. Where do I want to end up? And I don't really know. Where do I want to end up? Right now, I have an idea or a sort of vision that I've planned for myself, where I end up in a mountainous area or exciting outdoor area where I maybe have a lady, probably a couple dogs, and in my head, I'm still working in sports, doing something sports related, and I don't really have many worries. I go to work, I do my thing, I come back, and I just chill. I enjoy the life I've given myself. And that is an ultimate end destination where I think I may want to go, but the meantime, from now till then, so many things can happen. And even my end goal, or where I do want to end up, can change between now and then. So That's why this spot that I'm in right now is particularly challenging for myself, because I have this vision and I see I want to go there, but I don't know how to get there just yet. And I need to get the ball rolling, and the ball is only barely crawling as of right now. When I think about where I want to end up, I also have had another thought, and it's sort of along the sports production route. And this is something that I thought of hypothetically, maybe one day this would be cool to have. I had this idea for a business that may kind of already exist, but sports production. So I'm doing sports broadcasting, doing a thing that I have started doing right now, but I'm overseeing the business, but the business has another section where it's more of sports agency, where we're working with athletes, working hand in hand with athletes, negotiating their contracts, getting them TV deals, whatever else. I like the idea of that because what drew me to sports was professional athletes. I wanted to be one growing up, of course, so if I were to work with them hand by hand, but also still in sports production, something I know I enjoy, that sounds pretty neat. So while I may currently have an idea for where I think I want to end up, there's no way that's set in stone. Anything can happen. In a week, I could get a job somehow and my vision could change drastically. So that's why I feel like I'm walking on eggshells at the current moment, because I'm at a stage where I'm starting to commit. I have to commit to a job. Well, I have to get a job and then commit to that job. I'm now I feel like I'm looking in chapters of my life instead of years. Before you graduate from college, I feel like you're often looking more in years. It's like first grade, second grade, third grade, and everything is broken up in years. Then you have high school 4 years, college 4 years, but even then there's other sections. But now I'm an adult, and it seems like it's much more chapters. I'm looking at groups of years, or living in a certain place, or having a certain job. That's how my life will be broken up, and that can drastically change the outcome or potential future of my life. I have an idea of where I want to go, but I don't know how to get there yet. I need to take the first step now that will hopefully help me, one, define my path, and maybe open up doors to other things that I hadn't thought about before. I was hoping in this video that I would find some sort of resolution, maybe have somehow solved my problem, but haven't really gotten there. I feel like I'm a promising young person. I feel like I have a lot of opportunities ahead of me. I just have to find them, and I have to continue to stay in touch with people that I know that can help me out. And eventually, if I keep the grindstone rolling, I stay on my grind, I'm pretty sure I can get about anywhere I want to go. But it takes the work. I got to do the work. That is all for this week's episode of the Procrastinating Podcast. I have been your host, Matthew B. Stein. Thank you so much for joining me. You have been fantastic as always. And I will see you in next week's episode 100. Kind of nervous for it because I don't have anything planned. It's not going to be an extravaganza, but episode 100. I will see you next week in next week's episode. Peace out.